Hey, this is Tina with Content Creators Club. I'm here to speak to all the individuals who are burnt out and busy, all my knowledge creators who take busyness as a badge of honor and maybe have a little bit more of a challenge of working too much rather than resting. So if you are that person, definitely stay tuned. But if you don't know who I am, my name is Tina. I help knowledge creators like you automate your business so that you can avoid burnout and truly stay in your zone of genius. And yeah, that's what I do. If you haven't already joined the newsletter, definitely join the newsletter. And if you want to figure out the tools that you need to invest in to get your time back as a creator, then definitely feel free to comment tools and I'll send it your way. If you're looking for a little bit more support, strategy, and community, definitely consider inviting you to join Leverage Creator. So let's talk about this concept of, I really want to talk about how did this topic come to mind of speaking to the individuals who are tired, I would say. Well, it really came to mind when, I kind of related back to myself where I have many things going on in the fire. I have this business that's going on. I have real estate that's going on. I have other areas in my life that are going on. And at sometimes it feels really good to have like this badge of honor of like, oh my God, I'm one person. I get to do all those different things. But then there are other times where I'm like, what the fuck did I sign up for? It's way too much. And you kind of hide behind the output that you've been putting in, that you hide behind the hustle where you're using it as like, oh, I've done so well, but maybe secretly inside you're just kind of exhausted, right? And so, at different moments in time or different seasons, you have one thing where it will take a lot more of your energy than one area that takes more of your energy than the other, and that's fine. But I had a scenario not too far, but somewhat recently where every single area I would say felt like it was on fire. And I couldn't help but feel just straight up guilty that like I had all those things and I really just want to burn everything to the ground. Like, screw the house, screw the business, screw everything, right? And so, you know, it's very great to have a lot of different things, but it's very hard to manage all of them when they all go to shit, right? And so I can very much understand the individual who goes through that things because I've gone through those things. But you know, there are other seasons in points of time where, let's just say, you have three areas that you're focusing on and three things that you're working on. And let's just say two out of those areas are like growing. They're doing great, like amazing. Congrats to you, right? And then you have one area that's just like okay. Like it's not growing, it's not anything new, it's just totally chill, stagnant, maybe even a little stuck, right? And so it feels weird because there's this feeling where if everything else is not at 100, then there's this sense of like it's not worthy, right? And so I ask you to really question is like, does everything need to be at 100 or do you want everything to be at 100? And there's a very clear difference, right? Because you make space when you have the ability to rest. And so this is something that I talked about with a friend of mine where it was like, you know, maybe that one area that is chill, that is totally okay, that might be even stuck, is exactly what you need because it's giving you the space to rest. Because if all the other areas are taking your time, doesn't mean that that other area also has to take your time. Maybe it's okay just to keep it chill where it's at, right? And so there's a difference between allowing yourself to make space where that area is chilling and take advantage of that chill time to rest. And there's this other side where you can either take advantage of the opportunity when you have the opportunity to rest, or you be put in a position where everything's on fire and then you're forced to make space. A great story that I have is that I had not too long ago where everything I feel like was on fire. The business was annoying, the real estate was not amazing, and the other areas of my life was not great. And it was so stressful to the point that I actually got sick. And I really like was forced to rest. Like my body said, screw this, like you can't continue going forward. And that was a very hard moment because you may have all the drive in the world, but you only have so much energy that you could take care of, right? And so this is where I think to yourself, you need to ask yourself of like, if there's an area that's slowing down, is that an opportunity rather than a weakness? If it's an opportunity and you see it that way, then take that opportunity to rest because it is just as important than working, right? And so I kind of want to relate this to what I see a lot in the industry overall is like where are most knowledge creators at? Why kind of did this whole business idea come up where I serve, the knowledge creator that's burnt out is because I see way too often like burnt out and being busy is a badge of honor when truly it is not. It is not a badge of honor where you have to be on social media every day. You have to post every day. You have to do all the things, customer support, marketing, sales, all that stuff. Like it just does not it's not great for one person, right? There's this concept I've been reading and learning more about AI agents and so they say like similar to like a workplace, you wouldn't give all the capacity, all the work to one agent or to one person because the person doesn't do it half as well or even great. What you instead do is you sparse out the work to people who are specialized in that work, right? Because then you actually have more capacity and it allows you to focus on your genius. And so, I want you to ask yourself of like, what are you working on now? And so I've kind of partitioned this a little bit in terms of like, what are low return on time activities versus what are high return on time activities? And how do you transform? How do you transition to this? Well, when we think about the low return on time activities, I'm really thinking about these two core things that I see a lot within kind of just like the creator industry at large. It's like repurposing content. Is that really a good use of your time? I don't personally think so, right? Viral social strategies. Is that a good use of your time long term? Maybe not, right? Because let's just talk about like the pain that comes with repurposing content is just that it takes too much time. You have to create different formats. You have to do all these different things. And then when it comes to viral social strategies, like, yeah, you could be the one hit wonder, but then what happens if the content, like your reach goes to shit the next day because an algorithm changed, right? Like that is not a great return on time. So how do you transition to low to high? You really want to focus on the activities that bring you the best return on time. And so the things that I would do in replacement of that is like the things that are high value, that are high importance to me is creating content ideas. The more time that you get to spend in ideation, the better energy you come towards, the better use of your time because that's where maybe your zone of genius lies at. And the second thing that is kind of like the opposite of viral social strategies, but I think is a better one, is like focusing on strategies where you own your growth strategies. You can own how fast or slow you want to grow in the business. And so I really think of this from a perspective of collaborations. And we could talk about that in a whole separate topic on it for another day, right? But how do you transform? How do you transform in terms of like you are focusing so much on these low return on time activities? How do you transform into being in a place where you can just focus on high return on time activities? And that really comes to like if you are repurposing content and you're spending way too much time on it, maybe what you need to perhaps install, which we can definitely like join us in Leverage Creator, we can walk through it together, is like a content distribution automation where like right now what I personally do is I just create a video, upload it, and then all my automation workflows, AI workflows, they repurpose the content to many different social media platforms. I don't do anything else than just create the content once. And I think that's what's a better use of your time where like think about how much time it takes to repurpose content to all the different social media platforms even if you have a scheduler, like still like schedulers you still have to put the content in, right? Even if you do all that work, like that work of just content repurposing takes anyone from like 15 to 20 hours a week. But if you can install a workflow that brings it down to like maybe 30 minutes, where like for me, that's truly the case. I just create the video and then just upload it, maybe do one or two things, and then just let the workflows take care of it. Imagine what you could do with an extra 14 to 19 hours or maybe 20 hours a week, right? So this is where you want to consider thinking of like, how can I implement automations to do that? The second thing is viral social strategies. Now, I consider this a low return on time activity because I don't like the concept of depending on my growth on an algorithm when the algorithm is unreliable, right? I feel like I'm more reliable than an algorithm. And so I want to focus on the strategies that allow me to control how fast or how slow I grow. And so this is where we think about leverage collab strategies of like how can we automate the pitching for swap strategies, for bundles, for joint venture partnerships, things like that, where all you really have to do is just like maybe spend max 20 minutes, an hour on growth, and then you could get hundreds of email subscribers in return. Like that's a true story. That's the true story for me and my business. And so the results is of you transform these two low return on time activities to high return on time activities, you get a situation where you can create ideas faster, but you can also execute on those ideas faster. And the second thing is that you can have growth without algorithms. Oof, it's getting a little windy here in the Windy City. Anyways, that's kind of what I think about of like if you are that burnt out and busy creator, like you don't have to do that. That doesn't need to be your truth, right? You just need to figure out what automations and systems can I install in the business in order for it to continue to work without me. And so this is where, Leverage Creator, we have a whole strategy community and resources for that. I definitely encourage you to join us if it's a good fit. And then if you're just looking for tools to get started, then definitely comment tools and I'll send you the whole list. I'll send you the whole list of tools that I use in order to just really be able to build a business that's ran on 80% of automations. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.